Welcome back to the Old Colony Cast, a podcast about all things Plymouth and surrounding areas. And if it sounds a little echoey today, it's because we're recording on location. Bum, bum, bum. And as always, joined by co-host Hanna.
Hello.
Her name's Hanna.
Oh, you weren't supposed to tell us.
Yeah, we have a little
live studio
audience. Let's say that. And the other voice you hear is guidance counselor Fish. What's up, Fish?
See me in your office after class.
And guidance counselor, because if you want to know where we're recording at the Little Red Schoolhouse in Cedarville in Plymouth. It's a historic building that we were asked to do a vendor market, and that's going on today. And we figured we'd record an episode. I don't even have to ask you. I know what we're talking about.
I know.
But before we talk about...
Yeah, you said you have some updates.
I have some updates.
Okay.
So, I was listening to a podcast about podcasting because I'm a huge nerd.
Okay.
It's called The School of Podcasting. Super good guy, Dave, blanking on his last name, is the host. He's had me on his show. And so they were talking about how if you say you're having Domino's pizza while you're recording, like a monster would.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking like the mouth sounds would be horrible. But I'm just trying to think of that as an example. Yeah. That you should tag Domino's Pizza and be like, oh, we had Domino's Pizza, and you never know when they're going to share it. I'm like, we just did the Fluff episode.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, maybe I'll just shoot them an email and be like, hey, we did a podcast about Fluff. So I went to the website.
Did you?
I went to the website. There's no email.
Oh.
There's a phone number. So I'm like, all right. Boop, 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 boop. That's me dialing, in case you're wondering. And so this lovely woman answers, and she's like, what can I do for you? I'm like, yeah, I don't know who I'm looking to talk to, or if you care. I'm like, we did a podcast about Fluff, and it's all about the history, and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, oh, well, I mean, the owner of the company's not in until Wednesday. I can give you his voicemail. And I'm like, okay. So then I get the voicemail, and I'm like, hey, I don't know if you care, blah, blah, blah. This is what it is. And, left how he can listen. And I kind of forgot about it. And then I got a call the other day. He's like, is this Andy? I'm like, yeah. He's like, this is John Durkee. I'm like, hey, man.
Oh, my God. What?
So I talked to Fluff Man, the head of Fluff CEO.
And then so it's still owned by like the
Durkee family. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
And he said he loved the episode.
Oh my God.
That he sent it along to his family members.
Oh my God.
and all right, Fish, we know what side of the bread is buttered. Is that our bread is buttered on? Is that the term? Am I screwing that up?
No, you got it.
Yeah, all right. He's like, I love Hanna. I'm like, yeah, everybody loves Hanna.
Oh my God.
He's like, she reminds me of my cousin. So he's a fan.
Okay.
And he's like, he's like, did you get a lot of the information from the website? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I got
a lot
all of it from the website. Yeah.
And he's like, it was pretty accurate. I'm like, well, what wasn't accurate?
Yeah.
Like, so I do have some information.
Okay.
Muller, I believe, was a name that we were struggling on pronunciation.
Yeah.
He said we got the pronunciation right. And this is the part where I don't remember things. So apparently we were discussing like why that family sold to the Durkee family.
Yeah, it was a little unclear.
So apparently Muller died. He either died at 58 in 59 or died at 59 in 58. He couldn't remember. He was switching the dates in his head. And the daughter didn't want to run the company anymore, and that's when the Durkees bought it.
Okay.
So interested and sold to Durkee. And the other thing that he mentioned was marshmallow cream and marshmallow fluff are exactly the same thing. It's like a tissue and Kleenex situation.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So he was incredibly nice. John, if you're listening again, thank you so much for listening. It's great to talk to you. He was so nice. He's like, you need anything else, reach out. And
what?
Hannah's got another fan.
This is insane. I cannot believe it.
So now that I'm thinking of it, we'll have to put together a little care package and send it to Mr. Durkee with
some old
hat.
colony cast stuff.
Some swag in it. And
Hannah's autograph.
I literally.
Oh my God. We should autograph.
I literally
Can we autograph
cannot right now. That's
We
amazing.
can totally autograph like the sticker.
Dude, whenever he like was like, oh, this is John, not I am the owner of the Fluff Company. He was just like John Durkee, and it took like my brain half a second
You're like,
to
did
click
I
in.
say, like, are you a vendor?
And I'm like, Durkee. Oh my God. Hey, man.
This is great. I can't believe you kept this from me.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of surprise you guys on the show.
Oh my god.
Because I was going to text you guys immediately, then I'm like, ooh, no, we're recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't tell me this either.
I'm literally stunned.
I think I told you that I called.
You told me you had called him. You
Yeah.
didn't tell me he had called back.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's amazing. And you know me and like getting notes from people after. So the fact that was his only feedback, I'm like, that's great. I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean,
that's amazing.
and he was like, you were asking, and this is.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was very cool. He's
Oh
a
my
super
God.
nice guy.
Our audience left us. Did he go
Aw,
outside?
I think he went outside.
Yeah.
Okay. He's like, this actually isn't as fun as I thought
These
it would
guys
be.
are boring.
All they're doing is
They're talking
talking.
about fluff. I don't know what that is. I probably does. He's a kid.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, so you're like wicked famous.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I knew you guys would get a kick out of it. So I did too. But,
I can't, I literally cannot believe it.
Yeah. So, Hannah, that was our update. What are we talking about today? Like, I don't already know. This is I feel so smug because I actually know.
It's fine. It's once in 2 years. Andy knows what we're talking about, and he will not let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I need to come down off this fluff high. I'm like,
It's basically a sugar rush,
yeah.
but like
Yeah.
at one remove, it's pretty sweet.
Seriously? Okay, I'm so excited about that. Okay. All right. I can't even start.
I didn't realize you're going to be so flabbergasted.
I just am stunned. I'm
Yeah.
like just so amazed. Okay. Let me get
the whole family listened.
the pressure. That's what I mean. I'm like, it was filtered through like the authority on who needed to listen to that episode and
Yeah,
like give
yeah.
the thumbs up. So I'm like, okay, good.
Oh, boy. Hannah's going to start being like, where's my trailer?
Yeah, I talk like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So we are sitting in the Little Red Schoolhouse.
Yes, in Cedarville.
Yes. And why are we here today specifically?
Like, why is this? Well,
Who got us here?
Jody Burkett.
But like, what's going on
Oh,
outside?
all right. I'm like,
It's not a
why
trick
are you
question.
asking me questions? This is not how this show works. Listen, come climb down off your flop eye. So we're here today. Jody Burkett, who's been a longtime friend of Inebri-art, great photographer, is the chair of the committee that oversees the Little Red Schoolhouse, and it's just
Is it still the Cedarville Steering Committee, or is there like another one? Okay, that's okay.
And so a couple months ago, she's like, we're trying to get more eyes on the Little Red Schoolhouse and how great of a venue it is. And could you please run one of your vendor markets? So outside right now, there's about somewhere between 12 and 15 vendors. And there was a really great turnout. I'm pretty happy today. And there's alpacas and face painting. And so that's what's going on outside. And like I said before, like we're here. Why don't we do a podcast? Because we can record on location and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so that's literally it. So thanks for explaining that.
All right. You really put me on the spot.
I
didn't
know.
do the research for that.
You are the reason.
Yeah, but I'm not on a fluff high, all
Oh
right?
my gosh, you should be.
He's had time to come down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that's true.
Friday.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so one thing I will say that I really appreciated is because I had no idea where I was going to park. It seems like off-street parking is like totally cool.
Yeah, and there's like just past
Yes.
it, there's a whole playground area
Yeah,
with
the field
like
and the park.
all the parking.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's where I parked, and it was like a 10-second walk.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just in case there's more things here that people want to go to, and like they've driven past here
Well,
before.
one of their big things every year. So downtown Plymouth has a tree lighting on Friday night.
does here.
Saturday night, they do it here, and that's where you park. You park in the playground, And it's got a weird sidewalk. Did you notice?
It is a little.
It's like
It zigzags.
it zigzags for no reason.
Like, it almost looks like instead of following like the side of the street like your normal rational sidewalk, it's like following the edge of like
the plant growth.
Yeah.
plant growth, or
yeah.
like it looks like there's like a drop off past the plants.
You're very.
So it looks like it's following that for some reason.
Property line or something. I don't know.
It's odd.
But no, I did appreciate that parking was so close. Me being someone who, obviously from Plymouth, but Cedarville, I thought it was like, I was like, that's Cape Cod. When I was, I just didn't grow up on this side of Plymouth.
Yeah, you grew up in North Plymouth. This is like Here There Be Dragons.
I grew up in West Plymouth, actually.
I'm sorry, you lived in North Plymouth.
Yes.
Remember how she's like, I don't talk like that?
Yeah.
Actually, it's like West Plymouth.
No. So I never would have thought, like, if this had something happening, I wouldn't have known where to park. You know what I mean? So knowing that there's parking right there.
Oh, when I first scoped this out, and she told me she's like parking's at the playground. I'm like, I don't even see a playground.
Yeah, it's so like wooded.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very like old growth area. Very neat. But we're talking about the Little Red Schoolhouse specifically, which I think stands out to a lot of people just from driving around the area, kind of like I said to you guys before. It was built in 1876. I should clarify because I needed this clarification.
And actually, so did my mother.
For the Little Red Schoolhouse?
Yeah.
So the Little Red Schoolhouse is a chain operation of preschools that was once in Plymouth. So when you guys asked to talk about this...
You were like, the daycare? And we're like, what?
So,
what are you talking about?
and I want to say there were two of them in Plymouth. There was definitely one. I want to say there was a second one. So when you asked...
I think one is like over near Morton Park. Is that...
there was one there.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. It's like the Mulberry School now or Kinder Care or whatever it is. Something like that. But yeah, that's what I thought we were talking about. But no, we're talking about the historic building that is the Little Red Schoolhouse. It stopped being used. Did I mention it was built in 1876?
You did.
Okay, thank you. Stopped being used for a school in 1935.
Okay. So
So-
like Depression era.
Just about.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a...
One room.
Yeah, what do you guys see? One room. Even though it is one room, I will say there's like a little bit, there's some nooks and crannies you can get into.
Yeah, I mean, it's got like
bathrooms.
a kitchenette, some bathrooms.
The kitchen's really cute. Love the sink. And we just witnessed, me and Fish witnessed.
It's a little farmhouse sink.
Yeah, our friend, our audience that got bored, he rang the
bell.
The bell earlier.
I got to ring the bell.
You did?
Yeah.
And you have to ring the bell to open the fair.
Yes. Jody's like, ring the bell.
So
I mean, you can ring the bell.
It's the kid. It needs to
broke
be
it?
like reset. Yeah. Two front doors on it. It really does have the little schoolhouse feel. I feel I'm in the little prairie, little house on the prairie.
There's like a little
schoolhouse.
fireplace that it's just like that's clearly where
I
it was.
love the low chalkboards like all the way around the room.
Yeah, child heighted.
Windows to die for.
I feel like those look definitely new.
Those are new, but
Yeah.
these ones look
Right.
legit over here.
Yeah.
But lets in a lot of light. It is a really neat space for
Yeah, no, it's a very bright space considering we have no lights on it here, and it's like shady, but like shady, not like dark.
And it's, I don't know, I just like it. I like the feel.
It's cozy.
It is cozy. I'd love to get a fire going in here. So do they put the tree in here?
No, it's the one. It's like right in front.
The one that's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, that would be cool. Get it through the doors. That's why they put in the new big windows.
To get the tree in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been under town management since 1975. And has been used for community needs and events. We already talked about one of them, the tree lighting.
The tree lighting.
Local groups, AA
AAs,
meetings. I think that's been happening probably one of like the longest uses, honestly, from what I read.
The scouts use it.
Yeah, scouts, free libraries, painting classes, knitting clubs. This marketplace is a new use. So among a lot of other things that happen in here, just meeting community needs and just a space for some people to meet up and
Yeah,
do
I
things.
think they said the capacity was around 40. And it's just it's a good wide open room. You know, I wouldn't say it's fancy, but but I mean, it is what it is.
No, it has
perfect.
character. I like it. So in 2019, it looked like there was a back and forth on actually selling this.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and I do too. So that led to like a Save the Little Red Schoolhouse platform. So there is still a Facebook page for it. There's a Facebook page for the Little Red Schoolhouse. But it seems like in the same year that was turned around just because so many residents were against it. So where it was a pretty much unanimous vote for the selectmen to buy it, it like switched and then they decided to sell it.
To sell it.
Yeah. They switched totally and then it was almost
it's that moment of, oh yeah, like nobody really
No one's using that. We should sell it. And
Yeah.
then people flip out.
Yeah, nobody
Right.
really thinks about it until they realize, like, as soon as it might be going away, they become very emotionally attached.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, in a genuine way, a lot of people were even before, but, like, where's the, the studies and things put out to see how people feel
Yeah,
about
it's just one of those,
like that.
nobody cares about
Yeah,
this. Let's
exactly.
just...
I'm sure it was just a quick thing they put
Yeah,
on the
'cause-
agenda.
We did
Yeah.
a survey monkey and no one responded.
Exactly. Stuff like that happens all the time, and that's how, like, little places like this get
sold
swept
off.
away.
'Cause-
Yeah. Oh boy, but just for some historical reference for the area, which it was funny, I feel like I would need to go. There's this very specific room in the library that has so much little niche information about Plymouth and villages of Plymouth that you can't, like, it's not on the internet. Like, no one's copied and pasted it into, like, any website form. So
And it's funny because Jody
Yeah.
is a lifelong resident of Cedarville, and which for our listeners who aren't local, Cedarville is a village in Plymouth, and she very much sees it as Plymouth is one town, Cedarville is another.
yeah,
Almost kind of like, oh, this Plymouth coming in here, taking up, that
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah.
that mentality.
I think it's that way for a lot of places in Plymouth. There's certain areas that don't feel that way. Like West Plymouth always just felt like part of Plymouth
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
But, like, I would say Manamet,
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you're,
I mean, it does help that Plymouth is just land area-wise, it's huge for a
it's
town.
like the largest, the side of the
Yeah,
Mississippi.
something like it's a massive footprint. So yeah,
It really is. I'm not
Oh,
making
is
that
it? I
up.
thought you were just being...
No,
Okay.
it really
All right.
is.
I just thought that was
yeah,
silly.
it's such a massive.
Sorry, that sounded silly.
It's such a big footprint that you get down, and I mean,
Yeah.
you get down to Cedarville or Manamet, it's a 15, 20-minute drive from downtown. Like
Yeah.
anywhere else, you drive 15, 20 minutes in any direction, you are 2 towns away.
Yeah.
It's so nice here. I wasn't listening to a thing Fish was saying. I was just looking out the window and
the
being like, oh,
windows.
it's so pretty. Sorry, buddy.
No, it's cool.
It's just like, oh.
I'm just happy. Normally, it takes you a lot more work to find reasons not to listen to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just zoned out and I'm like, oh, it's so nice here.
That's fine.
But, I mean, historically, what I found more of my information from was actually the Herring Pond Wampanoag tribe that
Okay.
still
Yeah.
exists off Herring Pond Road
Yep.
today. One of the more interesting things that stood out is they still hold, like, the original land treaty that was made with them.
Oh,
and it's
really?
the only tribe in Plymouth to have their original land still.
Wow. That's cool.
And not, like, be given up and bartered or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So, our audience is...
Our
I
audience
think
has
it's
been?
him.
All right.
He has sunglasses on, so I
Oh,
actually
it could have
can't
been
confirm.
anybody. Yeah.
You could be anonymous.
And they obviously have, like, the richest knowledge and just general stewardship of the area, and it's still very active as a community. But the Little Red Schoolhouse itself has been touched by fame, from what I could find, just a couple times.
Okay.
And I know one of them you told me.
Elvis?
Elvis?
No, I don't know. I'm
I
just
was
making
like,
that
are
up.
you joking? I didn't see that.
No, he
I don't know. That's just the first famous person I thought
does
of.
not remember what he told you.
No, I do remember what I told her. I was just
Lies.
I was trying to get some of the other fame. I mean, Elvis is the first thing that popped in my head.
Let's roll with it.
All right. So
Actually-
Elvis went to school here.
Actually, while we're on this topic, let's just go crazy.
All right.
Who else could have gone here? I think the Doors did a concert here once.
Yep, that's true.
Yep.
And Abraham Lincoln wrote the Gettysburg Address here.
I'm pretty sure you did.
I'm
I
pretty
did
sure
hear
that's
that.
super accurate.
Yeah. And then
Don't Google any of that.
yeah, so because we're obviously making all that up, guys, what's it called when you make when you say it and not write it?
What is it? Is it libel?
I think libel is
libel is when you write it.
I think libel is written, slander is spoken.
Slander.
Yeah.
Would that have been slander?
No, because we weren't saying
'cause-
anything bad about anybody.
Oh, I gotcha.
We're not saying like Hitler was here. That would be slander.
Yeah, that would probably be slander.
Okay.
Or like
So depending on
the last school teacher here murdered somebody.
Oh.
That would be
Yeah, that's why it's no
slanderish.
longer a school.
That's not true.
I
I mean,
don't
her
think
ghost definitely still is
these
here.
are
but-
not true
Yeah.
things. But that's one of the
Just, that was a whole segue setting you
claims.
up.
Yeah, that was so good.
You're welcome.
One of the claims to its fame is that one of the thought to be one of the first incidents of libel in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who the person was? Because when I looked online, it didn't
She was
say.
a school teacher. I don't have.
It says she was like a fairly notable author too. So I don't know.
That I did not
Yeah,
know.
but I couldn't find a name.
Okay.
It was just a snippet at the bottom of a
Yeah.
article. So I was like, oh, maybe your friend told you who it was.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she wrote some awful stuff about people in here, I guess. And
About people in the surrounding town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that came out, and that's when she found out that's actually not okay to do.
And from my understanding, she did not do the names have been changed to protect the innocent. She was, let me tell you.
She spilled the tea.
Yeah. Kind of housewives style.
Yeah.
Were those Beverly Hills Housewives?
Yeah, that's
the
the
show.
thing.
Is that the show? That's a show.
There's
right?
like a lot of different town, city housewives, though.
Yeah, and that's why I said housewives, and then I'm like, ooh, that may come off as sexist, but I didn't mean it as sexist, so I felt like I had to elaborate.
I see what you're saying.
I meant the show,
No, there might
not the woman who lives and takes care of a
Yes.
house.
No, that's a good clarification
Thank
because
you.
I'm sure there's a large group of people out there who have no idea about the Housewives show.
Maybe, but I was just,
Just in case.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I could just see someone being like, he is a misogynist, and it's like, possibly, but that's not the reason why.
Certainly not intentional.
Yeah.
So the other touch of fame this place has had is from, do you know who George Layton is?
Mrs. Layton's little boy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, he's the son of Cape Verdean immigrants that attended the Little Red Schoolhouse.
Oh,
So
okay.
he actually went to school here, and his parents were from the islands.
What time did he go to school here? Was it
Oh,
in-
well, it would have been like early 1900s.
Okay.
Ish. Earlier 1900s. So after he lived here, went to school here, later in life, he would move to Chicago where he was arrested for inciting riots. But what actually happened...
He didn't learn that here, though.
No.
They didn't teach him that. Yeah.
Maybe they did.
Maybe.
But he was actually helping to protect some black residents who were moving into a neighborhood where the white residents didn't respond well, and they actually reacted with violence towards them. So
Oh, wow.
it was just in response to protecting themselves.
Right.
So he was arrested for inciting riots from that because it broke out into a really, really big
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And in 1951, he was on trial for that, and he was represented by Thurgood Marshall.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, so a little bit more of a he's been quoted by presidents.
Yeah.
He's a famous lawyer. So that's who represented him. And I mean that's really all I found as far as the fame that touched here, except for all the cool people we mentioned earlier.
Like the Doors and Elvis.
Yeah,
and
yeah, exactly.
Lincoln. Did I say Lincoln? I can't remember who I
you
lied
said
about.
Lincoln. Not only that, you said he wrote the Gettysburg.
Oh,
Address
that's
here.
right. That's right. That's what I said.
This does seem like a place where he would do that.
It's old timey.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Did we? I mean, that woman, the libel. Was she she was guilty? Did she was?
yeah,
Yeah. all
yes,
right, okay.
it was.
I'm
it
I
was,
wasn't sure if we glossed over.
No, it was definitely that. I think the only discrepancy I found was they're pretty certain it was the first case of it.
Right.
So it's like where it seems so certain that was the argument was or not, it was that she was guilty of it. It was like there might have been someone else at some point. So the timing of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, I mean, since that has happened, so that was like 1951. I don't think it was stopped being a school in 1935. So yeah,
Right.
that would have been around the time that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Mrs. Layton's son.
Mrs. Layton's son.
Went to school here just before it closed, probably.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so, I don't know, it's just so weird to think about, I don't know, stuff that old, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's, if you like put yourself back in time here, like what's Sunday?
Yeah.
So there wouldn't have been school going on.
Yeah.
Right.
But tomorrow, on a day in 1930, like what it would have looked like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like I just think of them with like their chalkboard. Like each
Yeah.
person have their chalkboard, and
Makes me think of Little Women.
I think Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier,
Yeah.
but now I'm really
but
thinking
that's
Little
all
Women.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Did those two things take place at the same time?
Maybe.
Around then? It's so hard to tell.
Yeah. Well, my new obsession is there's like TikToks and they'll be like, what is it? It's like, I forget how they phrase it, but it's like things in time that blow your mind. And it's that like the last public execution by guillotine happened the same year that Star Wars came out.
Yeah, it was
like
1976.
Yeah, 77 I think it was. Yeah, and like, you know, it's closer to, or you know, like this person was older or is older now than the person they starred in as a child.
Yeah.
And like all those weird kind of things.
It is neat. But this is definitely a cool spot.
I love it.
I'm glad we got to be on location for it.
Yeah, I'm you know, it's like I knew about it since they were talking about selling it.
Okay.
And my first time here, I only came outside, and that's just to kind of like walk the property. But I mean, I'm kind of like, I love it. It's kind of sweet.
It is. It's a very quaint place.
Yeah. And perfect for a vendor market. It's a beautiful day.
And it makes me interested in their tree lighting.
Yep. So I think there's potential of us doing something more with them on the tree lighting.
Cool.
And I think we might be back here a lot next year.
Cool.
So,
yeah, it's a fun spot.
Yeah, it's great. And I was blown away by how much traffic is outside. Traffic's it's suburban heavy.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And I got to ring the school bell. Like,
What's not to love?
I know, you're jealous. Are you looking up the dates of Little Women? And
Yes, I am. Because you asked, and I didn't know, and that's how I work.
yeah, but usually we get those kind of like follow-up answers from
Yeah,
the CEO
so
of Fluff.
I'm sorry. When we get an email from, the estate of Laura Ingalls Wilder, then fine.
Yeah. I love that.
But yeah, basically they were roughly
Around the same
contemporary.
time.
Yeah, like
I figured.
yeah,
Yeah.
very like just after the Civil War, 19th century. So
I think people like myself, where I saw both when I was so little.
just kind of conflated them into the same thing.
No, we're definitely not. But Little Women felt so much more modern because of the houses they lived in, and that they lived in like cities and stuff like that. Whereas the Prairie,
Little House on the Prairie was on the prairie.
right? So it was
On
like
the
more
prairie.
rugged, and I was like,
Yeah.
that was in like the 1700s, but it definitely wasn't.
Yeah, although
like,
the Little House books were published a lot later.
yeah.
Like
So
a lot later.
yeah, that's where my mind goes with it. But either way, I thought they, as an adult with reasoning now, I could see that they were probably around the same time.
Yeah.
And remind me a lot of the Little Red Schoolhouse.
Nice. So if you guys are in the area, make sure you swing by. It's right off the highway.
Yeah.
It's super easy to get to.
Yep.
And when there's not a market, you can park right there.
Exactly.
I don't know why I said right there. You can't see where I'm looking.
In the parking lot.
In the parking
Yeah.
lot. There's a little picnic table. And this is the part where we stop talking? Mm-hmm. And thanks for checking out the show today, listeners. If you enjoyed the content today, you can go over to patreon.com/Inebri-art to support the show. You can join over there for just a few dollars a month and help us provide this fun content that you just checked out. You can also email us at Inebri-art.com with your questions, complaints, and concerns, or you can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or at Inebri-art6 on Instagram. And also don't forget to check out our other shows, Bar Talk Podcast, Old Colony Cast, Inebri-art, and all the other shows on the Inebri-art Network, which you can find at Inebri-art.com. So thanks again for listening.